to me closely. Listen to me very closely. Because some people don't know how to follow instructions. I say that because somebody will watch this video and they'll still comment out of pocket. If you don't believe Esau is a white man, then I'm not asking for your comment. I'm asking for all those people that believe that nonsense, that Esau is the white man. Right? So, I said that for them. So if you don't believe Esau is the white man, then don't make a comment. This is for those people that believe that. Right? If you don't believe, or you know that Esau is not the white man, the only comment I want to see from you is agreeing or concurring what I'm saying. Now that I got that clear, let's go here. So let's try to make some sense out of this thing, because I'm doing a series right now on Esau, proving that Esau is not the white man from every angle, right? So I always get the derivatives of one West camp, whether it be IUIC, whether it be GMS, or whether it be Sakari, or any of those camps that come, especially it's the young brother. The elders don't really deal with it because the elders know this. The elders know that that's not true. It's not a truth. So if you started something as a doctrine of truth, then you stick with it for the most part. But you know it's not true. Now back to the story at hand. These brothers that constantly come to my videos when on the lesson, and they don't even listen to the information, the arguments that I push forward, right? They want to make Esau the white man. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a dumb question, as I always say, right? Could you name one source that you cite, out of all these references that you cite, that Esau is the white man, or as you all say, the so-called white man, right? Can you cite one of the sources where they acknowledge that the Caucasians are Esau? Because every source that makes a so-called white person Esau is not a reference to all Caucasians. There's sources, and you go to the Jewish Encyclopedia, you can go to all of the books that people quote. They're quoting the Jewish Talmudists. And Jewish Talmudists say that Rome is Esau. Okay. Every Caucasian didn't come through Rome. So that basically shows you that you haven't done your homework. Every white person didn't come from Rome. Okay? If you know anything about history, you know that there are people called the Germans. And then the interesting thing about it is that has so many holes in the doctrine, is that because the same people that say Esau is the Caucasian, or the so-called white man, they connect him to the Khazars. Do you know where the Khazars came from? Okay. The Khazars didn't come from Rome. Okay? So, I challenge those of you that believe that teach that foolish, idiocentric doctrine to point to me one source that says Esau is the Caucasian, not Rome. Okay? The source that says that Esau is the Caucasian, you can't find it because there's no source that tells you that Esau is the Caucasian. Okay? And the origin, as I said, if you Google it, the origin of Esau being Rome started with Jewish Talmudists because of the persecution that Rome brought upon Israel in 70 AD. Now Google that and get back.
Shalom. Shalom, shalom, akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakah Kwadash, I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learnt this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth, and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. It's just Bayan back again, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, continuing in the spirit, from this morning, regarding this individual, this slow belly. All right, again, the elder Menachem Zakba, I forgot to mention earlier, completely decimated this man, okay, in his lesson. All right, completely laid it on him thick. I meant to mention that in my lesson earlier, Salakia. But needless to say, through the spirit, I'm just adding on, to the wise sayings that were said by the beloved elder. Now, this individual, you heard him mention, he's doing a series, okay, on his channel, proving that Esau, the Caucasian is not Esau, or Esau, the Edomites are not Caucasians or whatever. He's covering all angles, he said. What's funny is, I'm sure if we tap into those series, he's not utilizing the Bible to prove that. Because the Bible is going to prove otherwise. So he's running around in circles. He's on the hamster wheel. All right. And he's pretty much utilizing information that's not the authority. Okay. What you're going to find out is that the Bible, okay, in the form of these passages and scriptures, all right, this is the end all be all. All right. And as a matter of fact, to prove that, let's do this real quick. Let's go to Edom Online real quick. Let's get this word. Authority. Now, when you get this word in the noun, it says this. Authoritative, right? Or authority. Passage or statement, book or quotation that settles an argument. Look it. Passage from Scripture. You see? Passage from Scripture. It gets better. All right, check this out. From Old French, autorité, right? Authority, prestige, right, permission, dignity, gravity. Look at the Scriptures. The Scriptures. You see? So if you're not operating out of the text, if your evidence isn't substantiated via the Scriptures, again, utilizing circular history, all right? But if your foundation of your information isn't the text to make it make sense, to bring it around full circle, guess what? You're not in a position of authority. You see? Proving that this man is not a prophet. He's not a man of the Lord. He's not a seer. He's not a watchman. Okay? He's an old bottle with a lot of misinformation. But that's when we come in to make all things make sense. Now, when you go to the Scriptures, now what this dude doesn't understand is, again, as we mentioned earlier, as the elder mentioned, Esau has been hiding himself. Okay, Esau is a mystery. It's a mystery to the world who Esau is. Just like how we're coined as the hidden ones in Psalms, the 83rd chapter. It's a mystery to who the Israelites are. That's why this thing is such a big. The world's in a big uproar, regarding us saying that we're the Israelites, which we are. We're the Hebrew Israelites, man. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You see? And there's many ways to prove that. The curses alone is a token. Okay? All right? And it's evident who those curses are resting upon. But anyways, going back to Esau. Okay? It's also a mystery who he is. But the scriptures tell us, okay, that there will come a time, in his time, in Esau's time, he will be revealed. Okay? When you go to the book of 2 Thessalonians, and we're living in that time. Okay, regardless of what this clown's talking about, man. Okay, this clown isn't this dude. All right, what this dude's talking about, it's not gonna withstand the fire that's coming, man. Okay, because at the end of the day, what you gotta realize, let me get this real quick. All right, Esau's gonna be destroyed, man. And guess what? You joined unto him, you're gonna be riding on the same short bus. The book of Proverbs, chapter 11. Before we get that 2 Thessalonians, in verse 21, and it reads, though hand join in hand. This dude said he's making a series proving that Esau, all right, Edom is not the Caucasians. Okay? He's joined hand in hand with them. He's part of their defense system. You see? Who knows? He could be bought and paid for, man. He could be bought and paid for. Look at Proverbs 11 and 31. And it reads, though hand join in hand, the wicked, okay, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, pursuing the Malachi 1 and 4, Job 9 and 24, okay, and various other scriptures. If you have the spiritual eye to see, you can comprehend that. It's really easy to see. You see? Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, man. As we quoted earlier, pursuant to the Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary. All right, Esau, all right, Edom was the only neighbor of the Israelites that was not promised any mercy from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see that? Why? Because they're a cursed people. As it tells us in Isaiah 34. Okay? Proverbs 3 and 33. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, man. This is why they have the curse of leprosy. They're clean lepers. You see, but that's a long shot for this dude right here. That's a long shot for him to understand. Because these secrets are not revealed unto him. But the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, man. Okay? And that's talking to the elect. All right? And again, the Lord deals with a seed line. He deals with the seed. He deals with a bloodline. That word seed goes back to sperma. Okay? Which will be tracked through who? The patriarch, man. All right? Not the matriarch, not the woman. The patriarch, man. You see? That's how the Lord operates, man. All right? The righteous, the elect are going to be delivered on this side, man. They're going to take part of that first resurrection, man. Again, that's a long shot for this dude, though. Okay? And the elect are going to see the downfall of this devil. Okay? And you're going to be right there with him. Because you believed in his deceivableness, man. Okay? And you don't have the truth. You're blinded, man. You don't know the secrets. But anyways, let's go here. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. Starting at the 7th verse, and it reads, showing you that it's a mystery, man. Esau's identity. Look, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Okay? That mystery of iniquity is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, again, this is why he used these various color schemes in the form of white and black. All right, that was part of his social construct and efforts for him to hide himself. You see? This is why he's told you that up is down and down is up. Left is right and right is left. All right, 2 plus 2, he tells you equals 6. This nigga's a madman. But again, it's all in efforts to disguise himself. So he's not revealed. You see, anyone that finds him is going to want to slay him. As Cain said back in Genesis, what was that, the 4th chapter, if I'm not mistaken? You see? Well, it could have been the, it's the 4th chapter. Right? Continuing on. Right? Let's finish that. For the mystery of iniquity, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, and it reads, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Who's that he who's letting? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. See, there's a day in infinity, man, where this man's going to be discovered. And we in that day. For those of us that can see. Okay? For those that can't, they won't. You see, it's to their own condemnation as far as you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, I want to continue to stay joined unto this nigger. Okay, he that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith, man. And he that has fellowship with a proud man shall be likened unto him. You're going to get thrown head first in the fire right along with him. Right along with him. You see? Right along with him. Let's continue on. And then shall that wicked be revealed, man. And look at that wicked. You see that wicked right there? Okay, you see how it's in a capital W? Let's do this real quick. That means something. Okay? Now, real quick, when you go to let's get this word wicked real quick in the Greek.
Strong's G 459. Animus.
Okay. And it goes into what? Destitute, right? Of the Mosaic law. All right. Of the Gentiles, okay? So this wicked with a capital W is talking to a Gentile. I wonder which one. All right. Now, you know, Esau is the wicked. You know, the Gentiles and 2/3 of our people, they do wickedly. Okay, but the wicked that the Bible speaks of is Esau. Okay, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, his works testify against him. He's a bloody man. He likes to drink blood. He likes to eat uncooked meat. Yeah, this is his character, man. He's built like that. Look, departing from the law, a violator of the law, lawless. You see? Look at wicked. Okay, this is one when you go to the book of Psalms. Let's go ahead real quick. We're going to come back to 2 Thessalonians. We got more business to take care of there. When you go to Psalms 50, real quick. That's why it says this, man. So you got to know who the wicked is. And then it all starts to make sense. All right? When you go to Psalms 50, bear with me. In verse 16, it reads, but unto the wicked, right? But unto the wicked, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenants in thy mouth? Look at this. Why is he raising this question? Seeing that thou hatest instruction and casteth my words behind thee, man. And most recently, we seen Trump getting sworn in. All right, he didn't put his hand on that so-called Bible they had. Okay, because they're not about that life. Okay, they worship the spiritual demon Satan. They're into witchcraft. Okay, divination, necromancing. You see, this is what they're into. That's all a facade. Okay, they don't stand on what's written in the scriptures. Okay, they have their own set of laws. They have their own set of rules. This is why the Lord said this. Okay, but here it is. They have you in court talking about put your right hand up, Put your hand on. You swear about all the other shit, talking about talking like they believe in the Bible, man. You know, you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Hey, what God? They're not talking about the God you think they're talking about. You see? And if they are, they're in error. They don't know the true God. All right, they're talking about Cesar Borgia. Is who they're talking about. Serapis Christos. You see? This is who the wicked is, man. Look at this. There's more. We gotta jump down real quick. I'm gonna jump down to verse 20, and it reads, "Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother," and this proves that it's talking about Esau right here, whether you can see it or not. Does it say Esau? Does it say Jacob? No. But if you know anything about the scriptures, you know that Jacob and Esau are the star characters in the Bible. You see, obviously besides Yahushua, he comes in the volume of the book. I'm not taking any way. Don't get me twisted when I say that. You Akiyamanakwa know what I mean by that when I say that. You know, Jacob and Esau. As far as these nations are concerned, let me be specific in what I'm saying. As far as the 18 nations, okay, Esau, Edom, okay, and Jacob, which it tells us in Genesis, the 25th chapter, that 2 nations were in Rebekah's womb. Okay, so as far as those 2 nations are concerned, they're the star nations in this talking point of the scriptures. Everybody else are all these other nations, they're just filling in the blanks. You see? So this is clearly talking to who? Jacob and Esau. This brother that he's speaking up against, that he speaks against, is Jacob. Okay? This is who he's always come up against, Jacob. Since the beginning. You see? That's why when you go to Obadiah, I'm going to go to Obadiah real quick. It says this. Real quick, Obadiah, damn. The book of Obadiah 1 and 10, and it reads, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob," and we know this book is dedicated to Esau. It opens up calling his name. Okay? Matter of fact, let's start from verse 1. "The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom," man. This is concerning Edom. All right, "we have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle," man. All right, because that's how this place is going to be taken out. Esau is going to be taken out through battle. The same way he came into power is the same way he's going to be knocked off. Look at jumping on to verse 10. "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever," man. Okay, and we're witnessing his shame right now. Him being revealed, okay, that's part of his shame. You see? Because when push comes to shove, and you come into the realization that this man's a clean leper, and concerning the Levitical laws, okay, he's a curse and an abomination, dog. He's a walking transgression, man. Come on, man. It all starts to make sense why the sun hurts him. They always wear sunglasses, X, Y, and Z. And let me just clarify something. All right. For the sake of individuals trying to, jump up charges on us based off what we speak. We know a transcript is running as I speak. Listen, there's going to be Edomites that look like, there's going to be Jakes that look like Edomites, man. There's Israelites that look like Edomites. Let's be clear about that. Okay? That's just an identifier. Okay, that's a token of who Esau is. But it's all through the spirit as far as who the Israelites are at the end of the day. Because we've been scattered into all nations. Okay, so there's going to be Israelites that look like other nations, man. In the flesh. Okay, but that spirit that's in them, that's an Israelite. And you will know it. Okay, it'll be nothing but salt on them. Or her. You know? And again, you Akiyam in the know, Akiyam and Akwath in the know, you know. For those of you that know, you know. This is not for anyone else but the elect. This lesson and all the lessons we do through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You're the audience we talk to, man. Again, we say it often. This is a private council being held in the public, whether it be on a digital epistle or on the highways and byways going live. All right, it's a secret council taking place in the public's eye. But anyways, you see, so the two key players regarding these nations is Jacob and Esau. Okay, Esau is going to be cut off because of what he's done to Jacob. The judgment that's coming to Esau is for the controversy of Zion, as it tells us in Isaiah 34. Now, real quick, again, that also proves he's on the scene. All right, for all you, he's been done away with. He's no longer here. Your likings of vocab alone that dress that story up. All right, but anyways, when we go back, let's go back to the book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 20, and it reads, "Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother." Now you see this makes more sense now. It was just mentioned in the wicked in verses 16, right? In verse 16. All right? The wicked is Esau. So who's his brother? Jacob. "Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son." Right. All right, this man's been defamating our character as long as he could. All right, he always paints us as the boogeyman. He's created this narrative as if the northern kingdom are the worst thing going on the earth. But here it is. You got a whole plastic island off the coast of California, man. Big as Texas, I heard. You damn demon. There's a lot for this man to pay for, man. All right, you got niggas like this setting defense for him. All right, that's why the Lord's going to have a nigga like this drooping. Okay, bleeding in the days that are coming. Bleeding, look up that word. All right, when a goat bleats, this is what niggas like this are going to be doing. They're going to be bleeding in the days to come. Okay, looking crazy as all hell. Anyway, let's continue on. I want to get this right here, verse 21. "These things hast thou done, and I kept silence," man. And the things that Esau's done, man, we're talking we're talking notebooks. Okay? This man has done them subject books. Okay? Them wide ruled 70 sheet joints, and you gonna need stacks of them. Okay? Based off what this nigga's done did. These things has thou done, and I kept silence. Why? Because we were in the time of our recompense, man. For transgressing against the Lord. We were drinking that cup. The same cup that you're going to have to drink, Esau, 2 times over. Right? Continuing on. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. Right. Esau thought that the Lord was with him, being that he allowed him to be a whooping stick against us. You see? That's why when you read Jeremiah 49, it says what? Thy terribleness has deceived thee. You see, the Lord has had you in the trick bag since day one. All right, you were that golden cup in the Lord's hand. Now you are about to be drinking from 2 cups in the form of captivity and persecution. But I will reprove thee. See, he said he's going to correct you, right, and set them in order before thine eyes. And this is what you're witnessing in the form of the servants, the prophets first and foremost. All right, bringing forth this report from the heavens. All right, trickling on down to the men, women, and children that believe the report, that have been revealed the arm of the Lord, and that have repented and turned back in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. You see? And ultimately, the men of the Lord are bringing forth your judgment. Okay, your reproof. How do you think the Lord's reproving you, man? Through the servants, the prophets. Through his words. You see? That's why when you go back to 2 Thessalonians, and I know this makes sense to you, beloved Akiam and Akwath of the hopeful elect, but a nigga like him, he'll never get it. The book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And verse 8 again. "And then shall that wicked be revealed." See, so he has to be revealed. How is he going to be revealed? Let's continue reading. We'll find out right here. whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. It's going to be through the servants, the prophets. You see? That's how he's going to be revealed. That's how he's going to be consumed. Okay? By these words, man, that cut sharper than any two-edged sword. Okay, and it says what? It shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And that's the moral of the story. Okay? That brightness of his coming. That's Yahweh Shai returning, man. With the host of heaven, man. Upon those missiles touching down. That's all part of the Lord's brightness. Those missiles, the chariots that are going to be shooting those direct energy weapons, man. You see? That's why when you go to, real quick, when you go to the book of Job, to back that up, Job 21 and verse 29, real quick, right? Because that's cohesive with this right here. Check this out. Have ye not asked them that go by the way? And do ye not know their tokens? Right, and this is talking to the servants, the prophets. The servants, the prophets go by the way. Okay, us being on the highways and byways is a token, a sign in itself that destruction is on the way. Pursuant to Jeremiah 28. You see? Look it. That the wicked, all right, here we the wicked, that's a buzzword for Esau. If you don't know who the wicked is, then you won't understand these scriptures. That's part of the reason why you won't understand these scriptures. Or who Esau is. Okay? Because that's a key token. Wicked, pride. Okay? Let's continue on. That the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction, right? Which is the day of doom. Right? They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath, man. Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah is going to walk this nigga by the hand to his destruction. You see, look it. But it is a process. And here it is. Job 21 and 31. Who shall declare his way to his face? That's a question. The servants, the prophets, man. That's how this man's going to be consumed by the spirit of the Lord's mouth. Remember, it tells us in Amos, the 3rd chapter. It tells us in Hosea 12 and 10. It tells us in Hebrews 1 and 1. The Lord speaks through the servants, the prophets. You see? Let's go. Job 12 and 21 and 31. Who shall declare his way to his face? The servants, the prophets. And who shall repay him what he hath done? Yahweh Shai. Okay, that brightness that's going to arrive. And guess what? Pursuant to Isaiah 47, he's not going to meet you as a man. Okay, this is the reality. Okay? But a nigga like this, it seems far-fetched. But in reality, he's in error. Okay, with the false doctrine and the false narrative he's pushing, trying to prove that Esau is not the Caucasians, man. Well, you're gonna find out, man, when you end up, okay, in the hands of the Slayer, okay, and this slumlord does you dirty when you in that detention center. You're gonna find out. Yep, at least you repent. You're gonna find out. See, you don't know what's going on. Right? Let's continue on. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9. And as a matter of fact, what I want to do, let's get this in the Good News Bible, man. You know this is hitting in the good news. Let me see. As a matter of fact, let me read it first in the G and KJV, and then we'll grab it from there. We'll jump over there real quick. Even him, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. Okay, Satan going into what? Adversary. Satan is an adversary to the Lord, man, even though he's cohesive with him, because he's working for him. Okay, but Esau comes in the workings of Satan. He comes in that adverse spirit to righteousness. But he's doing it in a position where, ultimately, it's a token that he's wicked. But as far as Satan's concerned, Satan's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. As far as his works. Okay? Satan is the son on the left-hand side of the Lord, Yahweh. Yup. And Satan answers to Yahushua. Anything Satan does on the planet Earth, he has to get it signed off by Yahushua. He's not just walking around the planet Earth, wiggling around doing what he wants. Nope. Doesn't work like that. But anyway, and that's why Esau's going to be cut off from that power source. Okay? Because that left hand evil, man, that's real. For those of you out there that don't know. Okay? But the Lord is gonna cut Esau off from that power source. Okay? From those principalities, man. Okay? He's gonna be rendered useless and he's gonna lose it. Pursuing the Revelations 12 and 12. Let's continue on. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, man. Right, those lying wonders. He's going to bring forth miracles in the form of that charagma. And a lot of niggas are going to fall for that. When they realize they can live 100 years longer. When they realize they can see if they're blind. They can hear if they're deaf. They can walk if they're maimed. You know? Niggas going to go crazy, man, for that technology, man. Not realizing what covenant that they entered into, man. Let's continue on. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 10, and it reads, and with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, right? You're going to be deceived, Jake. You're being deceived now. Because here it is, you're setting defense, okay, to strive against the Lord's doctrine. And you don't even realize it, man. You don't realize the danger that you put yourself in making this TikTok video. That's why the spirit's flaring up against you and brothers are doing lessons on you. Brothers are driven to counter-react, all right, the nonsense that you're speaking. Look at, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, man. Okay, showing you that salvation comes through a specific doctrine. See? You got to have the truth, man, to even qualify. Look, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 11. And for this cause, power shall send them strong delusions that they should believe a lie. Okay? And this is exactly the boat that this man's riding on with no shirt on. Okay? He's riding on that boat of lies. But he really thinks he got the truth. He's doing the whole series. He's being driven, okay, by left-hand means to defend evil E. Join hand in hand with him and try to make a point regarding him not being who he is. Okay? Tell me if that's not crazy. Right? Let's get this right here. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 12. That they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, man. All right, and this crazy thing about it, they're deceived in the deceiver of the Lords. This man doesn't even realize the deception that he's under. All right? He doesn't even understand. He's adjusting his glasses, sipping his tea, okay? Going through some text, okay? Written by some nigga that you can't even pronounce his last name, thinking he got the truth regarding his stance. Not realizing he's walking and sliding and gliding closer and closer to the face of the cliff. You see? Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to get this real quick in the Good News Bible. Let me see here. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. I'm going to start right around the 10th verse. And look at the title, look at the heading. The wicked one. All right, let's start at verse 10 here. Let's read on down to 12. Right, real quick. Deceit, Salakif, bear with me. 9. Right? The wicked one will come with the power. This is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9 through 12 in the Good News Bible. The wicked one, which is Esau, will come with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, to be specific, right? The wicked one will come with the power of Satan and perform all kinds of false miracles and wonders. How? Through his technology. Okay, this is why he's pushing AI. This is why he's pushing those technology centers, those tech centers. Okay, those super centers. He's trying to make this happen, man. They're building up the infrastructure for it now. They're only going to get so far. But that's how he's going to do it. Through his technology, man. Look. And use every kind of wicked deceit on those who will perish. They will perish because they did not welcome and love the truth so as to be saved. Okay? And so power sends the power of error to work in them so that they believe what is false. Man, the deceived and the deceiver are his. Look at what's the result? The result is that all who have not believed the truth but have taken pleasure in sin, showing you that this is talking to Jake, will be condemned. You see, which condemned goes into what? Doomed, man. If you're condemned, look it.
Condemned.
Sentenced to a particular punishment, especially deletion, similar word, doomed, likely to have an unfortunate and inescapable outcome. Okay? Ill-fated. There ain't no hope for you, man. Okay? Joining yourself unto this man's philosophies, his ways of life, and him in general is gonna get you deleted. Okay? You see? Hey, what more? Hey, what more do you want? What more do you want, Jake? Hey, we can't make you believe, we can't make you see, and we can't make you hear. Because pursuant to Isaiah 6, there's an angel blocking your pineal gland, man, from you being able to comprehend this truth, man. And you're going to go read Isaiah 6 and not see what I just said and think I'm lying because you don't get it. You don't got it. Okay? Let's go ahead. Matter of fact, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go back. We finished that out. Yeah, man. Hey, that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much the point, man. Hey, we ain't got nothing to prove to these niggas, man. If you don't see that Esau Edom's a so-called white man through his behavior patterns, his characteristics, and it's just his appearance in general, man. Okay, and again, that's an identifier. Hey, that's on you. All right, you're meant to fall into this man's traps because remember, he's likened unto a fowler. All right, which is a bird catcher. All right, go watch fowler videos, man, and look how they be catching these hawks and these eagles, man, on them bird traps. They get them good. And once they land in that trap and try to fly off, nope. It's so deceiving. And that's how Esau got you niggas, man. Esau got you niggas in that bird trap. And you trying to fly away, but you ain't going nowhere fast, man. As a matter of fact, let's close out with this. The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, and verse 3, and it reads, "But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost," man. A lot of you Jakes, 2/3 of you Jakes are lost souls. Hey, a lot of you Jake that came into this truth, all right, and you're slipping and sliding all up in the inner courts right now. Hey, you ain't really you're gonna slip and slide right out the back door, ultimately. Because you're in the temple being reckless. You're behind the scene doing all types of filthy acts. Okay, your mindset's off. Okay. You're not brotherly. You're not a real brother. You're weak in the spirit. You ain't pulling your weight. Your nose starts running and you just, the world got to stop. Come on, man. And we're in a time where we have to put on, we have to put in, that dog got to come out now. The time we're in now. It's time to let that dog out. And what I mean by that is, it's time to work. We're in a time now where it's time to work, man. Hey, the Lord's requiring nothing less. You see, it's not going to get easier as we get closer to the end. It's going to get harder. All right? But as they say in the world, and it's a true saying, hey, only the strong survive, man. So through the spirit, only the strong are going to survive, man. Those that are built for the mission. You see? And it's going to be made plain upon tables that a lot of men, out there on the weekends cussing out Esau, pulling 2-3 lessons out of their ass a week, are going to in reality, they're not going to be able to fight and endure that good fight of faith up into the final moments, man, because their faith was little. You see, and they had an ulterior motive, and they really weren't truly dead set on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, they weren't goal oriented, all right, as far as salvation is concerned, and it's gonna show at the end. You know, hell, it's showing now. You know, and those men know who they are. You know, hey, for you beloved Akiyam, hey, I'm speaking to the choir. You know, but for certain men that may stumble upon this lesson and not hit you in the neck, guess what? You him. All right, the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, man. Right? 2 Corinthians 4 and 4. In whom the power of this world, which is Esau. That word God goes into power. That's what that word God goes into, Allah. That just means power. It's just a title. Right? So when you read this in its proper context, right? In whom the God of this world, which is Esau, Job 9 and 24, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. That precept validates what I'm telling you through the Spirit regarding this precept. Okay? In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not. Okay? There's a veil, a covering cast over the minds of those of you jakes that can't get this truth. Okay? Isaiah, what's that? The book of Isaiah goes into that. I think that's Isaiah 25, if I'm not mistaken. 7 or 8. Verses 7 and 8, that covering cast, that veil. The beloved elder actually brought that precept out. But anyways, let's continue on. Lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, which that light represents this truth, okay, who is the image of power, should shine unto the men. So at the end of the day, if Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai doesn't let you in, you ain't going to be able to get in. You ain't going to get it. You see? Unless that light shines upon you, man, unless Yahweh Shai, allows you to, unless the Father draws you to the Son and you're received, you ain't never going to get it. All right, you're going to just be running around tyrannical, abominable, and with the mind of a renegade, thinking you're doing something right, just waiting for the Lord to put your lights out, man, at the end of it, for the world to see. Okay? So yeah, man, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, you Akiyam and Akwath were edified. I just wanted to come through with that follow-up video. As I mentioned earlier, through the Spirit of the Lord would have allowed it. I wanted to come back on my lunch break, which that wasn't realistic. And had some things to do after work. And the Lord allowed me to be able to do it late this evening. But the Wadi Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai for that. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Lord willing, you Akiyam and Akwaf were edified. Shalom.